Hello YouTube, this is VidHead85. This is from the New Civil Rights Movement, and this is hilarious. I haven't even read this article yet because the headline was just so laughable to me. Kari Lake claims supporters were disenfranchised because they had to endure the same conditions black voters often face. This was written today by David Badash. Republican Keri Lake, who lost her bid to become the next governor of Arizona, has yet to concede. But even before the race was called for Democrat Katie Hobbs, Lake was crying fraud. Lake, a top supporter of Donald Trump and his big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, has been crying fraud for over a year. She made clear months ago that the only outcome she would accept was being declared the winner. Reporters have repeatedly asked Lake to show proof of her claims of 2020 election fraud, and she has repeatedly refused. Scrolling. Now she's calling the election botched. How do you certify an election that is botched? Lake asked on Fox so-called news earlier this week. She's also posting accounts by her supporters complaining they had to wait in long lines for hours to vote, with some suggesting they don't trust the process, with the underlying implication being that perhaps there was election fraud. On Thursday, News Nation reported that Lake said she is collecting evidence about potential election fraud after she lost the 2022 governor's race. CBS News adds that Lake said Thursday she is assembling lawyers and collecting evidence of voters having trouble casting ballots on Election Day as she considers her next move. There are no minimum standards for how elections should be run or what conditions are acceptable. Republicans have not only rejected attempts to place basic expectations, but have passed countless laws at the state level to make voting harder, especially for communities of color. Now Lake is claiming the very same condition black and minority communities have had to endure, often because white Republican lawmakers, governors, and secretaries of states have funneled resources into white affluent communities, is evidence of disenfranchisement. Lake offered no opposition when actual efforts to disenfranchise black and minority voters were enacted across the country in red states, not to mention her own state of Arizona. Outgoing Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, GOP, signed into law numerous bills passed by Republicans in the state legislature, including a highly controversial proof of citizenship bill that the U.S. Department of Justice is calling a textbook violation of federal law and is now suing over. The law also mandates proof of address for newly registered voters. Republican Governor Ducey also signed a law that effectively hobbles Arizona's permanent early voting list, which ABC News reported last year is used by 75% to 80% of voters. Estimates range from 126,000 to 145,000 or more voters would be purged from the list. Some egregious So egregious is the law that the U.S. House of Representatives Majority Leader Steny Hoyer of Maryland issued a statement saying that it will rob up to 200,000 Arizonans of the ability to vote by mail, which has been done successfully in Arizona for many years. It will disproportionately affect minorities who do not vote regularly or those who move their place of residence, Hoyer added. And this legislation would also punish independents by making it harder than those not affiliated with a party to maintain their registration. The practical effect of this law will be, as its author intend, to make it harder for people to participate and vote. Lake never spoke out against actual efforts to disenfranchise voters, who face some of the exact same challenges her supporters claim to have encountered, challenges she now says is voter disenfranchisement. Just take a look at these headlines from 2020. Why do non-white Georgia voters have to wait in line for hours? Too few polling places from NPR. Black and Latino voters face longer wait times on Election Day. Carnegie Corporation of New York, September 18, 2020. More than 10-hour wait and long lines as early voting starts in Georgia, The Guardian, October 12, 2020. Florida Republicans target black voters, Justice Department says in filing, The Guardian, August 17, 2022. Lake on Thursday recorded a video alleging voters were disenfranchised by her Democratic opponent, now Governor-elect Katie Hobbs. The fox was guarding the hen house, and because of that, the voters have been disenfranchised. Also on Thursday night, Lake posted this highly edited video with sensational music depicting long wait lines, presumably for voting in Arizona, lines which are unacceptable but not uncommon across parts of the U.S., especially in areas of red states with large minority voting populations. Lake also posted that the video of a man who said he had to wait 90 minutes in line, and when he tried to vote, there were problems with the tabulator machines, which were widely reported on Election Day in Maricopa County. But as the Republicans officials in charge of Maricopa County elections said in a video quickly released that morning, they had a backup system in place, which this man says was suspicious to him. Everything is suspicious to him. Everything is suspicious when a Republican loses. The backup system was to place ballots in a box that would be transported to a different location to be counted. Not unusual at all. Offering zero...
Good morning. My name is Lawrence Santangelo.
Okay. Offering zero evidence to question the election officials' methods, Lake said that this man felt it meant they would throw his vote in the trash. That's not what it means, but hey, as long as the GOP loses, it's disenfranchisement, right? The Associated Press reports on Friday that Lake pointed to long lines at some polling places that were exacerbated by problems with ballot printers at about a third of the vote centers in Maricopa County, the largest county in the state. She said the problems disenfranchised voters who couldn't wait at the polls. What happened to Arizonans on Election Day is unforgivable. County officials said that all ballots were counted and that votes could go to any polling place in the county, many of which had little to no line and wait times posted online. The AP notes, adding that about 17,000 ballots were not scanned at precinct-based vote centers, but were instead placed in a collection box to be counted by more sophisticated machines at the county's election headquarters. In another post, Lake is complaining about a 2-hour wait, again too long, but very common across parts of the U.S. Lake says this man waited an hour, there were technical issues, so his ballot was also put in a box to be counted. Placing paper ballots in boxes to be counted is how elections have been conducted literally for centuries. Lake's suggestion of fraud actually appears to be insufficient resources, GOP-created laws designed to make voting more difficult, and improper maintenance or testing of voter resources, just like the tabulators. She has offered no actual proof of fraud. Watch the video above or at this link, which when you go to New Civil Rights Movement, I'm going to scroll all the way up here. Okay, so basically she's just mad that white people were experiencing the same kinds of disenfranchisement that black folks have. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for joining me. See you later.